What is up, Sploder Nation? I'm your host, SploderianRich. Let's get right into the games. Looking back at 3 and sure, they feel kind of unfinished. This is partly why Flashback was made. Keep in mind, Flashback is not a remake. It has a new, yet simple plot. This was actually based on a dream I had where apparently A-Style remade a Petit game. Don't worry, this isn't an A-Style rip-off game. Fun fact, Delta comes from a planned game I had, B-Ball 2 Delta. I planned to follow up B-Ball 2 with a DLC where Ballistic would venture to defeat Vometrons. I scrapped it, because I didn't want to plan too many games. In other news, Episode 1 of Toonventures is releasing in a few days. Back to the topic of Flashback. You may know that 3 had some secrets. Try finding these secrets again in Flashback. Maybe you can see how they've changed. You could even find a cameo of a past character. Yep, a secret cameo. In part 2. Be the first to find it, screenshot it, post it on the wiki, and get your character playable in a level of Racket Frog Typhoon. Well, that's all. I hope you enjoyed this direct and friend me on Sploder if you want to see some more dank memes. Hey guys, SploderianRich here. You may remember me from my first direct, where I showed off Petit Flashback, arguably the bounciest Sploder game ever made. But today I bring you sadness. Toonventures is, well, cancelled. I realized I'm very limited with what I could do with the series. And it just doesn't seem as fun as I imagined it would be earlier this year. Heck, I'd rather be making SploderianRich directs. I liked how the first turned out, so expect to see more. The reason Toonventures was created was because I wanted to combine Sploder games and YouTube videos. Well, don't SploderianRich directs do the job fine? Maybe future directs will include segments where the petty characters do wacky things. I know what you're all thinking. What the f***? Well, I'm sorry, guys, it's just the way things turned out. Now, let's talk about games. And, Dios mio, do I have some games planned? I haven't started development on B-Ball 2 or Racket Frog Typhoon yet, so sorry. The games will likely see a due release, with Racket Frog Typhoon featuring a playable cameo of the Starflord himself. Sorry again about Toonventures, but stay tuned for future directs and games. Thanks for watching, Scrubs.
Hey guys, SploderianRich here again. I took a break from SploderianRich Directs for a while, but I'm back with some more games. If you've been keeping up with Petit these past few weeks, you may know that Petit Flashback was featured. Yes, Part 1 and Delta, and very briefly Part 2, were featured by Bobbler. Flashback was even reviewed by DemonXZ95. This is not only great for me, but good for Deal With It Do What, Manga Mixer, Almighty Gumi, and Supersonic 72, whose characters appeared in Delta. Not too long ago, Flashback received some updates, which hopefully polished the experience. Thanks for playing, guys. A lot of work went into making this the ultimate Petit game. This is Petit's Legacy era sprite, which will be used for all games from now on. This sprite is more faithful to his artwork, and overall looks better. Not only will Petit get a new sprite, Shin, X-Yolo, Vomtrons, Melee, Burgoon, and Silentzorah will also receive new sprites. Most just get minor alterations, though Shin trades out the plain brown shoes for some radical red ones. Vomtrons gets a new animation entirely, and Silentzorah no longer looks like digital vomit. I hope you enjoy seeing these sprites in future games. Sorry about this, guys, but I won't be releasing any more Sploder Series walkthroughs. Recording and uploading walkthroughs back in February and March took up too much of my time and felt like more of a chore than it should have. Sorry Flashback never got a walkthrough, but I'm sure you all have played a good portion of it by now. The walkthroughs are now unlisted, but you can still find them through a playlist. I figured it's time I expanded on Racket Frog Typhoon and B-Ball 2. The games were announced back in February, so I'm sorry news has been so scarce. Let's talk about the gameplay. B-Ball 2 will play largely like its predecessor. Racket Frog Typhoon has been reinvented as a platformer game, like the original Racket Frog, as the overhead view format wasn't really working out. Both games will feature extra playable characters and neither will be split into parts. On to the stories. B-Ball 2 focuses on Ballistic and Puffy going on a vacation to Wumbum, when Puffy suddenly gets kidnapped. Along the way, Ballistic will meet Mel Water Guy, who will help him go on a quest to save Puffy. In Racket Frog Typhoon, someone has been posing as Racket Frog and causing mischief all around Wumbum. Rack must investigate and clear his name. I hope you guys will enjoy the games when they release by the end of this month. Lastly today, let's take a blast to the past, by looking at some old scrapped Petit and Racket Frog levels and concepts. In an old concept for the remake of Adventure, which would eventually become Petit's Adventure Recoded, Vomtrons would have pushed Petit into a mountain, leading into the events of Petit Lost in a Cave. This would have made the Adventure remake a prequel to Petit Lost in a Cave. However, as we see in the final Petit's Adventure Recoded, Petit and Vomtrons fight not on top of a mountain, but rather, a new location, the Vampire Legume base. Here, we see an old unfinished game of mine simply titled Background. I believe this was going to be a minigame and Petit minigame is. This is supported by the fact that the date shows November 22, 2013 and Petit minigame is was released the next day. The game is in an overhead view and the description says collect all the melee spirals. Though there aren't any. Aha! Here is an unfinished level from Racket Frog Stage 5 Part 2. I tried to create a cool looking mountain level, but it couldn't work out, so I scrapped it. The level is quite obviously unfinished, as you can see cluttered items, backgrounds, and enemies everywhere. Have you ever noticed that the second level in B-Ball Plus and the first level in Racket Frog Stage 1 are very similar? There is some reasoning. As you may know, Racket Frog was briefly cancelled from December 20, 2014 to January 2, 2015. Due to me not having any ideas, I had one level for the first stage already made, but due to Racket Frog getting cancelled, the level was reworked into a different game. You can see that I even said this in an old Sploder Series wiki blog post of mine. What was that game the level was reworked into, you may ask? It was B-Ball Plus. After some searching, I found the level from the original Racket Frog Stage 1. Here it is. You can see that it very much resembles the level seen in the final Racket Frog Stage 1 after Racket Frog was revived, though instead of snow, it's sand, like the beach level in B-Ball Plus. I know this is getting confusing, so let me try to explain it the best that I can. So I released Racket Frog tutorial on September 12, 2014, right? So then I work on Stage 1 and I make this cool beach level. But on December 20th, I cancel Racket Frog because I have no ideas. But I don't want the level to go to waste, so I use it in the upcoming B-Ball remake, which is B-Ball Plus. I change the level up a bit, remove all the Racket Frog elements, and boom. January 2nd, 2015 comes, and I revive Racket Frog. I guess I liked the original Stage 1 level so much that I decided to use it in the final Stage 1, keeping many of the elements from the original level. But I changed the sand to snow because B-Ball Plus already had a beach funny story. It's weird how such a normal level could have such an odd history. In Racket Frog Stage 3, the heroes were originally going to have squid power-ups, as a tribute to Splatoon. This is what the squid power-up box was going to look like, showing all the heroes in squid forms. I even made a Sploder Series wiki blog post titled Squids announcing it, but I later realized it was a dumb idea, so I scrapped it and quickly edited the post. Deal with it. DeWatt later commented on the blog saying something about Splatoon. It's like he knew or something. Or maybe it's just because Splatoon was a new game at the time, lol. The squid forms may not be canon, but they'll always be in my heart. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully, you learned something new today. Stick around for my future games and have a grand day. Before I start off this direct, I want to give a brief message about the recent murder of Christina Grimmie, as well as the Orlando shooting. These were devastating events. I never even knew Christina Grimmie, and I've never been to Orlando, but I can see that these were truly terrifying events. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. Hey guys, SploderianRich here. Recently, E3 returned again, as with every year, bringing us some fascinating announcements. E3 may have came and went, but it's always E3 when another SploderianRich Direct drops. Today, I will introduce you to future characters that you'll encounter in upcoming games. Some you've seen before, and others you haven't. Anyways, shall we begin? Hedgehog. You may remember Hedgehog. These enemies were one of the 3 new characters revealed in March, alongside the first announcement of Petit flashback. Anyways, to quote Supersonic 72 and Tigzon, gotta go fast. Stingle. Stingles are the last of the March characters. Stingles are like Bumbles, except for the fact that they don't really hurt you. Rather, they sting. This means that they will make you lose penalties as opposed to lives. Now, penalties are far from groundbreaking, but for a Petit game, they're definitely something new, so look forward to that. Fonana. Fonanas are, well, banana enemies. They inhabit the deserts of Wumbum. I hope they will have as much appeal as the dreaded Mel Waters. Coupon Man. You know how the rabbit is bad and the turtle is good? Well, that's a lie. During the events of Racket Frog, Coupon Man was one of Lewis's chief henchmen, alongside Mewhosept Girl and No Name. Remember when Rack was separated from Jumpymon and Doro after their blimp popped in Stage 5 Part 2? While Rack was fighting Lewis, Jumpymon and Doro were battling Coupon Man. It was an intense battle, but it was all over when Jumpymon pushed Coupon Man off the mountain. That day, Coupon Man swore he would get his revenge, and with the coming Racket Frog Typhoon, he can. He must be stopped. He won't be the main antagonist, but he will serve as a powerful boss. Vomitra. It's truly been 3,000 years, hasn't it? I've finally come up with a design for Vomitra, and I'm satisfied with it. Well, that's all for this direct. I promise I'll be hard at work with my new games. As always, take care and have yourself a sploding good one.
Hey guys, it's your favorite contentaholic. It took 3,000 years, but I did it. I finally finished my Sploder games. Let's see what people think.
Grand night!
Hey, this guy just made some new games. Let's check them out.
Rah!